Welcome back. Before we discuss the future of the circus, let's take a look back. The greatest show on earth began in 1882, founded by 5 of the 7 Ringling Brothers. In 1907, it was acquired by P.T. Barnum and James Bailey. The post-war prosperity of the 1950s was not shared by the circus, and a final touring performance took place in 1956. Then, in 1967, the Feld brothers purchased the company for $8 million, but just this week, Feld Entertainment announced it would end the show in May. Joining us for more on Ringling's demise and the future of the circus is Pedro Reyes, a founder and CEO of the Circus Arts Conservatory, Dolly Jacobs, Associate Director of the Conservatory, and she is also one of the most decorated performers in the world, and Bello Knock, the ultimate daredevil extraordinary. And I've always wanted to meet you.
All right, thank you.
Why don't we start by asking the obvious question. Saturday night when the news broke, were you shocked, and what was your emotions? Bello, let's start with you.
Extremely sad. It's sad when it sets in. If initially you're sad, mad, angry, you're everything. For me, the shock was, it's amazing that that was the only answer. The question. That's what it was like. What?
We'll get to that more. Dolly?
Well, it was very sad, and what made it more sad was because we just came from the Ring of Fame on St. Armand's Circle, which is honoring the great artists that are present and some of the past. One of my idols, Rogana, was inducted. And so I was on a high. I take great pride in my heritage, our heritage. Yes. And so it was a wonderful day to celebrate the great artists of the past.
And your name is on the ring yourself.
Henry Ringling North.
Actually, that's pretty funny. We're sitting, you know, I've thought about this. We're 3 people who have plaques on the Ring of Fame, and probably, very uniquely, the only 3 people that have worked for Ringling Brothers and the Big Apple Circus.
Pedro, I mean, was the writing on the wall? I mean, we're all shocked when certain things happen, but there's a difference between shock and surprise.
Well, there were a lot of rumors floating around that there was some of the rumors were they were going to shut down one unit and continue with the other. And I guess what the family did, they decided and made a business decision. Ultimately, it's about making money. And if you don't have the ticket revenue or ticket sales, I mean, the family needs to make a decision.
Do any one of you believe that if they consolidated the units to one, they could have hung on?
You know, they've been trying. Even in the package, you said they had seen steady decline in ticket sales over the past 10 years. They made a conscious decision 10 years ago to go down a certain avenue, and then the last thing that really took us was when they got rid of the elephants. But that was the end of it. That was the last drop off. It was already at going down a steady.
The decline. Do you connect the decline to the controversy over the elephants and the animals, or something else?
It was, obviously it's a factor, but here's what I'm going to say. Tell me if I hope this is it's not popular, but if you set out to make a cake and one by one you remove the ingredients, certain ingredients, after a while you go, this one's not really, self-rising flour and that. After a while, if you take away, after a while you don't have the contents to make that. So if they consolidated it, here's what I can say. The Felds are very smart people. They're very passionate people. They're business savvy people. They're very passionate people. They have a tremendous amount of other brands that are family entertainment.
And making money. But what were the other elements that were removed over the last decade that contributed to the demise?
Well, you know, first of all, they performed in arenas. Arenas are not like a big top. You go into a big top, it's very magical. It's extremely magical. People that walk into our show for the very first time walk in, and you can see them say, wow, this is amazing, awesome. You walk into arena, you're still in an arena. So the show content, whatever the show is, it needs to be a wow factor, 1,000 plus, okay? And like Bella was saying, if you start cutting back and, you know, economically kind of stripping things.
I will say that the first time I saw the Ringling Circus was at Madison Square Garden in New York. It was a magical event, but it was big.
What year was that?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Way back, yeah.
No, it was magical, but...
Exactly.
All right, why don't we take just a quick break? We are just getting started. More of the discussion of the Ringling Circus and the future of the industry coming up, along with a check on our forecast. Back in a moment. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing Feld Entertainment's decision to end the Ringling Brothers Circus and what the future holds for the industry. Our guests tonight are Pedro Reyes and Dolly Jacobs of the Circus Arts Conservatory and daredevil performer Bello Knock. How did you folks view the issue of the elephants and the other animals and the controversy over the last couple of years? Because, especially with the elephants, they were such a crucial part of the circus experience.
Obviously, you know, it's a big factor, right? I mean, removing elephants from the circus. I don't give this as a win to PETA at all. It was a sad moment, but sure. Elephants were a huge part of it, just like many others.
What about their essential point and how they went about it?
How they went about removing them? I was on Ringling for 14 years, and I never saw any abuse. So it's really hard, and it's hurtful because I was there and I saw it day in and day out. And
here are two major facts. Neither one of us have ever owned elephants. We don't have skin in the game. But if we had ever seen abuse, we would have been the first one to sound the alarm. We would have been the first people to say, stop that. Now, here's the next thing. I believe they were criticized, they were challenged, Feld organization and circus, about abuse. They were found not guilty. So they were false accusations. I think what really happened is they felt it's still a business, it's show business. They looked at probably at each other and said, are we going to do this all over again? But they won all the lawsuits. They were never found guilty for any malpractice, mistreatment, anything.
But there is a cost-benefit calculation that goes into anything.
Sure.
And they calculated, even though they won an award, that it was probably counterproductive to continue having the elephants.
Well, it's very stressful, very frustrating, and to be attacked all the time, to have these PETA people chain themselves onto the fences, and it's ridiculous.
So the question is, where do we go from here? Because the essential point is so many millions of people have been entertained over the years. Every parent takes their child to the circus. And as I said in the setup piece, the wonderment that you see in their eyes, circus won't go away, but is it a business model that in some fashion can still earn money?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can speak for that. We're in our 20th year, and we are very successful. We sell out almost every single seat, and we have about a 68% return audience. So we must be doing something right.
Then what's the difference in your business model in compared to Feld?
Let me quote a circus performer. They said, as a circus performer, I found out something. I'm a great circus performer. And when it comes to business, I'm a great circus performer. So let's make something clear. Ringling Brothers is a circus. They are not the circus.
Yeah, but they are, well, in some, I mean, their moniker, the greatest show on earth.
Absolutely, absolutely. But there are other circuses. There are over 200 circuses in Italy. There are over 300 circuses in Germany. Circuses around the world are doing well. Now, not all of them, and even some with elephants are doing very well, other circuses. There are other circuses that don't have animals, and they're hurting. So it's not about just an animal issue. It is... Sometimes it's, when a person plays bullseye, they don't hit the bullseye all the time.
Nick Walinda said the other day that the industry has to evolve, and he suggested the use of technology. I want to get your thoughts on that because, I mean, people see Cirque du Soleil. I mean, it was big for many years, especially in Vegas and their traveling shows. Is that what he's talking about in terms of the future?
Well, he owns a circus. Yeah. I produce shows. We hire and provide a lot of shows around the world. Let's make sure everyone knows what they're talking about. Cirque du Soleil is a big impact. Everyone loves it. It's still just the French word for circus. Even them, as a giant conglomerate and a giant show, they're feeling the pain too. They don't have elephants. They never. But they're not out of the woods. there's a lot more challenges in life. There's a lot more options in life, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, again, electronics, right? Just the iPhone, whatever it is. I mean, Instagram, Facebook. We use those as a tool to attract audiences, but at the same time, it's one of the challenges. So you overcome that challenge. And to me, the most important thing about any performance you produce is quality. Wow factor. Right. You've got to wow the people out of their seats. They've got to walk out of that tent or big top arena, whatever it is, and go, oh my God, that was the best show I've ever seen. Right. That's what it's all about. And if you start cutting corners, start, you know, nickel and diming, you're going to start losing audience.
The circus and Ringling Brothers was always about the exotics, the things, 17 different acts from around the world that you'll never see. So it caused...
But the important part of that to also remember, correct me if I'm wrong, it was P.T. Barnum that brought the animals in. The animals weren't always there. So I would imagine before the animals, before the elements, it was the performers. Is that the essential part, Dahlia, of circus? Yes,
but also, you know, I remember as a little girl, before I started performing, standing on the sidelines and being awe of Rogana or whatever aerialist or big star that was the blackout and a spotlight came on. I'd get goosebumps. And you can't tell me that children today won't get goosebumps when they go to a circus and have that experience. If that experience isn't there, then they won't get it.
Would you guys agree with something? Elephants don't make or break a circus. No. People do. Does that make sense?
It does, and the thought is occurring to me, if you relate this to sports, people like going to a football game or a baseball game or a basketball game, but in some cases, especially going to these arenas, it's problematic, it's expensive, the traffic, the parking, the schlepping, and you could just go home and watch it on TV. And so the question to all of you is did circus lose some of its viewership because you could be entertained in mass media?
Years ago, the BBC television started producing television shows, and Billy Smart's circus had said it's the death of the circus. That's about 50 years ago.
Right.
50 years ago, it was the death of the circus. Right. We're still around. The circus is still going. Today, there's more interest in the circus arts with our youth than ever before. Okay. Our youth, our kids are more interested in the circus arts. When I came to America in 1984, I believe there were 3 or 4 circus schools. There are over 250 circus schools in the United States of America. Right. That tells you something.
Circus has been challenged, or it had been brought up, when the newspaper came out, it's going to be, when TV came out, color TV, movies, CGI. Now, every time it's going to be, you know what? In the break, you said, I remember the first time I went to a circus. There's something about the circus that 4 generations can laugh at the same joke, 4 generations can ooh and ah and have everlasting memories.
All right, why don't we just take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about plans to bring the Atlanta Braves to spring training in Northport. Welcome back. So what does the demise of the Ringling Circus mean for Sarasota, and does the future hold for circus performers and audiences? Our guests join us now for final thoughts. Pedro, you say the show goes on.
Absolutely.
How?
We continue our show. We open on February 10th. We're selling tickets. Our ticket sales are robust. We have a great show booked, and that's very important about the quality of the show. You have to book. We bring in acts from all over the world. When the audience buys a ticket, they are not disappointed. They walk out saying that was the best show I've ever seen. And that's very important. And I can say right now that the circus is thriving. It's an exciting time for the circus arts in the United States of America and around the world. And it's unfortunate Ringling's closing its doors. They made a business decision. It's sad for Sarasota because in 1927 this was the winter quarters, and that's where it started. And thank you, Mr. Ringling, for choosing Sarasota.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Dahlia, what would you say to the mom or dad out there who's watching this right now, who want to give this experience to their kids? Where do they look at this point?
Well, they still have opportunity. And as long as there's children, in the words of Red Skelton, and aren't we all, there's going to be a circus. And there's no way that because of this happening, I'm try to be more optimistic. I believe something else will turn around, another door will open for Ringling Brothers, maybe in another name, I don't know. But the circus, as long as we have children, there's nothing to compare to live entertainment.
And Bella, I mean, is there more excitement out there coming up? What are you doing?
Yeah, sometimes you have to lose something to find it. And right now, it's like, you know, we might have lost two very iconic things, the Big Apple Circus and the Greatest Show on Earth. I'm putting a team together and have most of the team to try to save New York's Big Apple Circus, and even do that together with, still remain friends and still being passionate about the circus and the inspiration and the reach that it has to people.
Okay. Thank you all very much. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about the exclusive negotiations between the Atlanta Braves and Sarasota County. The plan is for the Atlanta team to bring its spring training to Northport by the spring of 2019. Braves executives will address Sarasota County commissioners on Tuesday. Here's what some of our viewers are saying about the development. Jeanette Carpadona writes, "It is great to hear the Rays, the Orioles, the Pirates, and the Braves all right here. Good for us." Michael Della writes, "Silly idea. This is going to be close to the existing Rays spring training complex in North Charlotte. Apart from spring training games, the millions of dollars facilities are almost empty the rest of the year." And Chris Lasecki writes, "The only one this kind of thing benefits are the team owners and the snowbirds. For the rest of us, it is only part of the low-paying seasonal jobs, more traffic, more accidents, and more taxpayer money, with very little coming back to the community, despite what economic development people would have you believe." Well, if you'd like to join us in the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past Roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Pedro Reyes is the founder and CEO of the Circus Arts Conservatory. Dolly Jacobs is the founder and associate director of the conservatory. And Bello Knock is the ultimate daredevil extraordinaire.